Welcome to the Blue Collar Gamers Club, where we work hard and game harder. You are tuning in to episode number 2. Bama Shock's here, and you all know my co-host. He's the man with a plan, inventor of burrito in a cup. Good to the last drop. He is Troubadour XP.
What is happening, blue collar gamers? Tro here, and we have some news for you. To begin with, we're going to start off with the Xbox Game Pass. It's a big deal nowadays, thanks to some recently very well received news. What would that be, Bama?
Well, as you all may know, since Xbox Game Pass's inception, you have had access to a library of over 100 Xbox One and Xbox 360 games. Well, as of this week, it has now been announced by Phil Spencer himself that all first-party Xbox One releases will be on Game Pass on release day. This is titles such as Forza, you've got Gears of War, Halo, and the first one on the docket will be Sea of Thieves on March 20th. You heard it. Available release day, March 20th.
Well, that saves me $60, that's for sure.
I look at it, it's costing me $120. I wasn't currently a Game Pass member.
Sea of Thieves is a game that is currently in beta right now. I have not had a chance to participate in the said beta, but many people have. I don't know if Bama is one of those many.
I have not played the beta. I did not play the alpha. I honestly didn't have a whole lot of interest in the game. I'm not really a pirate fan. I mean, I honestly tuned out of Pirates of the Caribbean in the first movie. So, that being said, I have, as a mixer streamer myself, I have noticed since the beta started, they have had viewers anywhere from 2,000 to 4,000, making it the most viewed game at any given time. And this is a beta we're talking about. This isn't even a released game yet.
I think because so much little information is available on Sea of Thieves, people want to know what it's really about. And I'll be honest, I did jump into the beta the prior to this one. And I mean, I have to be honest, I really could not get into it. I still don't understand it, but maybe I'll jump into it again and hope to understand it a little better. Now that it's coming to the Xbox Game Pass, though, for $10 a month, there's no harm in trying the full game upon release.
No, and, that being said, you look at, even if you don't like Sea of Thieves, you're probably a fan of Halo or Gears or even Forza Motorsports. All of these are first-party Microsoft titles, and they're all available to you. The year of 2017 was very light as far as quality on Xbox first-party, and it has gotten a lot of flack for that. Well, you got to think, in the rotation cycle, we're coming up on new Halo games, new Gears of War games, and in, 2 years' time, Forza Motorsports 8 will be out. So, I mean, there's some good stuff rolling through, and you pile that on top of the over 100 games available at any given time. Once I went ahead and signed up for Game Pass this morning, and I went through. I downloaded Halo 5, Gears 4, all kinds of things that I never wanted to put $60 into, but would come up in community play or something like that. And, okay, now I've got them available.
There you go. I've been an Xbox Game Pass subscriber since it was available to preview members, Xbox preview members. I really enjoyed it, and I've been a member since. I have not skipped a single month. Have I played a game from the library every month? Yes, because a little known fact from the Xbox Game Pass, every month they have a contest within the Xbox Game Pass. And if you complete certain tasks or quests, they will reward you with with digital rewards. So I remember the October one, if you played 5 different scary games for an hour each, I believe, they would send you a digital reward. I ended up getting the movie Transformers, the first one, I think. And digitally, and now I own it on Xbox or on Microsoft account because I completed that challenge. I believe the challenge happening right now is a riddle. They give you four questions, and if you figure out what game they are talking about, and you play that game for up to 10 hours, you qualify for the reward for the month.
That is an interesting thing. I had no idea.
Yeah,
I'm going to have to check. You said that's this month's? You have to figure out the riddle?
yeah. If you go to the Xbox Game Pass page where you access all the games, I believe
Mm-hmm.
the icon looks like that of a little map, and then it'll give you four sentences or statements, and each is a clue to figure out what the game is that they want you to play. And you don't have to play all 10 hours. I think if you play 2 hours, you earn a certain reward. If you play 4 hours, you earn the next level reward. And if you play the full 10, they'll give you like the biggest digital reward.
I will have to try to figure out what that riddle is. No cheating. No, no, no. An update. PUBG in its 6 weeks has acquired 4 million players on Xbox. I know we butchered this one to death in the last episode, so I'll just kind of keep it short. So in 2 weeks' time, they've gained another million players.
That is amazing. In 2 weeks' time, 1 more million players were added. Last time we were on the podcast, we had just mentioned that they had hit 3 million. Now they're at 4 million. Amazing. And just like the Xbox's dashboard keeps getting updates on a monthly basis, PUBG seems to be getting updates pretty much, maybe not weekly, but definitely every 2 weeks. A good update hits the Xbox version of it, and they're all for the good. It looks amazing on the Xbox. Well, not amazing, but it plays good enough.
That is true. I heard there is some news regarding the Monster Hunter World release. When does that come out?
Well, it comes out tomorrow, and I am very excited. Which is surprising to me because I've played the Monster Hunter games on the Nintendo dual screen, aka the Nintendo DS, and I was not a fan of them. I really do not like time quests, and that's pretty much the basis of that game. I did not like that there's no jump button, uh, and I tried it on the.
Wait. Hold on. I have to stop you. They make games today where you don't have a jump button?
They do. They are rare, and when they do come to light, I tend to avoid them. But I did play this one on the PlayStation beta, and it still doesn't have a jump button, and there are still plenty of time quests. But what made the difference of me hating it to me enjoying it is the fact that I was able to play it online with up to 4 people. And taking down one monster, that initial easy monster that we took down just felt so right. As a Dark Souls player, I felt like I was playing Dark Souls with 3 other monster hunters, and we took down this, relatively big yet easy to kill monster, and that's the fun factor for me. Kind of like PUBG, you want to play that with friends.
Yeah, friends make everything better. If you have a bad breakup, friends make it better. If you're trying to kill people in video games, friends make it better. I mean, what can you say? April 20th is our release date for God of War. Where do you sit with that franchise?
I stopped playing I stopped playing God of War since, I believe, the third one. The third one was the last one that I played. I didn't even finish it. This new one promises quite some changes. As I understand, it's no longer going to be based on Greek mythology. It's now going to be based on Norse mythology, but it's still the same protagonist from the originals. I'm looking forward to playing
Greek, Greek and Norse mythology. There's a lot of parallels. There's a lot of, gods with the exact same powers, the exact same responsibilities. So, I mean, while it's been based in one, I could see the swap to the other just to further the story of their original protagonist. Now, I understand that this game has been codenamed Dad of War. Do you know anything about that?
Yes. From what I honestly have not watched a lot of the trailers nor read much about it intentionally because I do plan on playing this game and I want to be surprised as much as I can. Kratos is the name of the main character. Had a
Mm-hmm.
son or will have a son for this game, and
Okay.
the son is a major game mechanic in the game itself. So you may end up using the sun to, go into smaller areas that maybe Kratos can't fit through and unlock the door for you on the other end or something like to that extent.
Well, he does have those really broad shoulders, So I mean, I could see where having an adolescent would help in getting through the tight spots. I mean, not everybody's as skinny as Luigi.
That is true. Well, we do know that on April 20th, one of two things that's going to be happening. People are going to be playing God of War, or they're going to be smoking that herb.
Oh, easy now. We're not talking about the ganja here.
What's next on the list, Bama?
Well, I have seen the official list of Xbox One games with gold for the month of February.
Hit me.
Number one on the Xbox One for the month of February will be Shadow Warrior. I'm not too familiar with this one, and I'm not really impressed by the screenshots I saw prior to the taping.
From
Do
what I
you know
saw,
anything about that one?
all I know is that it is. I think the main character's name is Wang, and that alone is setting off triggers of the kind of game that you're expected to play on there.
Chinese,
Yes,
Japanese, something along those lines.
something ease.
Something ease, maybe Bruce Lee's.
Next on the list, we have Assassin's Creed
Yes.
Chronicles India.
India. I myself delved into Assassin's Creed Chronicles China last year when it hit games with gold. They play more like a 2D side scroller with the flavor of Assassin's Creed thrown in. If you want something a little different, but still feels like something you're used to, it's a nice game to just drop 30 minutes or an hour into and do a couple of missions.
I've never been into. I'm sorry. I do own. I think the previous one because it was free with the games with gold previously, but I never got a chance to play it. Looking forward to it though.
You should.
Looking forward to it. I'm gonna leave the next game to you because you seem to have a lot to say about it.
The Xbox 360 games with gold for the first half of the month is Crazy Taxi. Most people remember Crazy Taxi the best iteration of it was either the arcade version or the Sega Dreamcast version. It is touted as one of the only really good games on the Dreamcast. And people still talk about it. People still have Dreamcast just to play it. The port to 360 is supposedly not as good, but we'll give it a try in February.
Yes, we will. Now, if you don't mind, I'm going to take over the next game.
You got it, buddy.
Split Second. Now, Split Second is the last free game with gold for the 360. This is an intense action racing game that's set within a reality TV show. Competitors do try to finish first, but the track itself is rigged with many triggers, if you will. And if the racer activates one of these triggers, big dynamic things can happen in the track, such as a building falling over and changing the routes of the tracks and debris hitting your vehicle and causing you to stay behind. It was a pretty intense game back in the day. I really enjoyed it. I personally felt that it never got the attention it deserves, so here's up for a second chance.
And me, I'm not the biggest racing fan, but I am all about a gimmicky racing game. I grew, coming up, I spent a lot of time with the Need for Speed franchise early on, a lot of time with Burnout and Crazy Taxi. So, I mean, I'll give it a shot for sure.
As everyone should. So, Bama, what's next?
We are to the topic of the day. Since we're new to you guys are new to us, we thought we would share our gaming origins with you. I myself, when I was just a wee lad, just a few years old, my father was given an Atari 2600 by someone he worked with. He didn't know what it was. I didn't know what it was. I plugged it up. He hooked it up to the TV. Little pixels started popping across the screen. They weren't that impressive. I mean, we had color TV, so it wasn't really, there was no comparables to it. But just a short time later, I woke up on Christmas morning, and under the tree was a big, shiny Nintendo Entertainment System. And from that day, I was a Nintendo fanboy all the way up through the Nintendo 64. Never owned a Sega system or any of the other smaller ones. During the time of the Nintendo 64 was when I actually branched out and I started playing with the PlayStation original, the OG, as you might have it. That's where I got into Need for Speed and Burnout. It evolved. From that point forward, I've owned just about every major system outside of the Wii U. I don't currently have a Switch, but it is on my radar. And I stopped with the PlayStations after 2 because I fell in love with the Xbox 360.
That's quite a console.
It was. Still is if you can find one that's not red ringed.
I have one.
My last one died, and it wasn't even the OG version. It was the slim line. It died too.
Oh, yeah? Wow.
Yeah. But it was after the 1 come out, so I already had the 1 when it died, so I wasn't too sad about it because thanks to the newer, more modern backwards compatibility, I can play most of them. I did lose a few digital titles that aren't yet backwards compatible because they were cross-gen games, such as Assassin's Creed Black Flag. Never got to finish it because my 360 died and it wasn't backwards compatible, and I'd already surpassed the window which I could upgrade for $10 more, whatever it was.
Mm-hmm. I remember those days. Those were the days.
Yeah. For those reasons, I ended up buying 2 different copies of Call of Duty Black Ops 3 in the same calendar year.
As I'm sure many, many did.
So, Tro, how did you get into gaming?
Well, I grew up gaming because while exploring my house, I found an Atari, also 2600. I'm guessing it belonged to my sister, though I never actually saw her play it. I didn't even know how to plug the thing, but I've always been curious, and through trial and error, I discovered what an auxiliary cable was. And, back in the day, today auxiliary cable means something different, but back then, oh no, I'm sorry, I meant coaxial cable. And
No, you're not going back far enough, bud.
Oh, really?
You had an RF adapter.
See, I don't even remember that.
There were two little screws on the back of the TV. I guess one was positive polarity, one was negative polarity. You screwed the little thing in, then you could twist the coax cable in. That's how it originally started. You might have went straight coax. I don't know.
I don't remember, to be honest. All I remember is a coaxial cable. But that's
somewhere.
Yep, somewhere in there, and that's where it all began. I think soon after, I think my mom noticed, that I was into gaming, and I think I ended up getting a Nintendo for Christmas, but this was like a year or 2 before the actual Super Nintendo came out. So I was always late into the console generations coming. We grew up without much means, but enjoyed every single moment of it. I remember trading games with my friends at school. None of this digital stuff. It was a fun time. After that, I did move on to the Super Nintendo. I ended up getting the Killer Instinct version. That's the one that I got. Oh, Killer Instinct has some great memories. Great memories. Super Nintendo was the thing for a while that kept me going. My neighbor got the Sega Genesis, so I was able to get a little bit of both worlds because we would travel back and forth to each other's houses. And then after that, I ended up getting the Nintendo 64. I remember that. when that.
Hold on. I hate to interrupt you. Nintendo 64, in my opinion, to this date, is probably the best overall system I've had. Now, the Xbox One is impressive, but if you think about the technology at the time, the Nintendo 64 was pushing graphics further than it could go. It was doing things that just felt right.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. I remember popping in. Yeah, water. I remember looking at water in Mario 64 and Wave Race
Yes.
64, and I was like, "Wow, it cannot get any better than this."
And what about the water in Assassin's Creed Origins now?
Oh
Looking
my
back.
gosh. But I do remember actually, I would come home and play. I got every multiplayer game that I could get. I got the four controllers amongst my friends. I was the only one that ended up getting. I guess I was the only one that became like. I hate putting labels, but like the hardcore gamer. Uh, I I they would all come to my house. My sister would even bring us food. She enjoyed just watching us have fun. I have my sister to thank for a lot of these fun times. To be honest, I would never tell this to my mother, but she would sometimes get me out of school just so that I could go watch a movie and then come home and play games. And when my friends would finally catch up, we would play GoldenEye, big one, big GoldenEye gamer here.
The biggest, most that was probably the most influential foray into multiplayer at the time. This was before Halo. Halo changed it too, but GoldenEye 64 was the bomb.
Yes, yes, it was. Now, unfortunately, one day I came home and my house had been, well, there was theft, I guess. Somebody came into my house and they stole my Nintendo 64. I thought maybe somebody had put it away because I was in trouble or something, but no, it had been stolen. And that's what made me buy a different console. By then, the PlayStation had come out, and I was going to buy another 64, but I decided, you know what, let me try something different. And that's what pushed me to the PlayStation side. So then I became a PlayStation gamer for a while. I went through the generations, PlayStation 1, 2, um, and I never ended up buying the original Xbox. I
I
never
didn't
got
either.
that.
I
But
played it one time and we played 2 matches of Halo, and I said, "This is garbage. I'm going back to PlayStation." It was mostly because I lost both matches horribly and didn't know what I was doing.
I think around the release of the Xbox 360, I remember they were selling out. They sold out on November quickly, but by that point I was already working, and I was trying really hard to find one, but hard to find one. And in February, I walked into a Target, and there was one, and it wasn't even the one with a hard drive. Um, so I was like, oh, I don't even care. I'm just gonna get this one. So I ended up buying my first. That was the first console I bought with my own money, and it became my favorite console, the 360 one. And I always tried to really hard to own all the consoles at the same time, and I never could achieve that until last year. Actually, last year I was proud. I'm proud to say that I officially own the PS4, Xbox One X, my Switch, and also a very nice PC rig. So I own them all.
Well, being as blue collar as I am and never knowing how much I play, I try to stick to one system. And I've branched out a lot. It was probably 8 years ago now, but I walked into my sister's house and my brother-in-law was playing Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. And at the time, I had been out of the gaming thing for, I don't know, 2 years or so. And I saw it and I was just like, it was reminding me so much of those GoldenEye days. And I literally went home. I wasn't making a whole lot of money at that time, but I hopped on eBay and did a lot of Googling, and I found an Xbox 360 that was suffering the red ring of death, and that there were 4 or 5 simple repairs you could do to make it work. And I'm like, for $30, I'll do it. Got it home, tried the the four penny trick and the dielectric grease, and I actually got that Xbox to run for about 6 months.
Really?
Fast forward 6 months later, was making better money, and at one point there were literally four Xbox 360s in my house. I was playing it, my wife was playing it. I even had my mother playing Call of Duty. When Call of Duty when Call of Duty Black Ops came out, I literally walked in the store, bought 5 copies, and walked out.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, granted, I was picking two of them up for friends, but
Still, 5 copies is 5 copies. This guy at the store must
oh,
have been like, oh, he was really loved the franchise.
don't get me wrong, Walmart was very happy that night.
Oh, yes.
So, now I'm still currently on an OG Xbox because that $500 price tag on the X is a hard pill to swallow. And I'm trying to make other investments in my blue collar business, trying to grow it some. So, got to keep priorities where they're supposed to be.
Yes, yes. Yeah, I only got well, I upgraded to the S because it was a gift from my wife, and I had already sold my OG Xbox One, so I had that money, and I started saving up for the Xbox One X.
Yeah.
I like to plan long term. If I
Absolutely.
hear wind that something is gonna come out and I'm remotely interested, I start setting money aside as far as a year or two, as far as I can.
Okay. Well, let's go from the far past to the more recent past. Tro, what have you been up to lately?
Well, what I've been up to recently is a little game called Little Nightmares. I don't know if I
What is
mentioned
Little
this.
Nightmares?
Little Nightmares is a game that came out for, I believe, all consoles: Xbox, PlayStation. It's kind of like Limbo in theme, or more recently, Inside. And you're playing a six. Well, I don't know if she's 6 years old, but you're playing a little girl who wears a raincoat, and I, I don't know. It's a weird game because I walked into a restroom in the game, and the sink and the toilet were too big for any 6 year old. So I don't think that it takes place in the human world, but I could be wrong. I haven't finished the game. It's scary, but it's rated T for teen, but it's very disturbing. If you play that game, it's, I don't know. I think you'll see some things that you're like, wow, how is this not M rated?
Oh wow. Okay.
But I've been streaming that game. I've been having fun. It's very puzzly. Like, you have to solve certain puzzles. One of the most recent ones, I had to get around some guy with long arms, but as I walked through the wooden floor, the floor would creak. He would turn around and he would, grab me. So you needed to know what were the soft spots where the floor wouldn't creak. So it's those kind of puzzles. It's a really, really fun game to try
Okay.
out. Other than that, I finished watching Stranger Things season 2. Finally, took me forever, but that got over and done with. And surprisingly enough, it never got spoiled for me, and I work with students, so yeah. These guys don't know when to stay quiet, but it didn't get spoiled for me. I was able to finish it, and I really enjoyed it. Looking forward to the next season. And lastly, last 2 weeks ago, I was able to upload our first podcast, and
Woohoo!
that's what I've been up to. How about you, Bama?
Well, I've been playing more PUBG in what time I have been able to put in, streaming it, and got a chicken dinner or two.
Nice, congratulations.
I also branched out. I streamed a little bit of the original not Stranger Things. Life is Strange.
Oh, there you go.
I was able to get about an hour in, and I decided I'm not a fan of walking simulators.
Oh, based on that one though?
Well, based on that one and a couple of the Telltale games. But outside of that, I did dip my toe into a game called Zombie. It
Oh, yeah.
it didn't feel like it had a lot of in-depth story. Basically, you're dropped into London post-apocalypse, and Noise is very important in that game, as it should be in the apocalypse with zombies around. And you've got to look for loot, check in all the drawers. It's good for a couple of jump scares, but it's not quite my cup of tea. But I did give it a shot. Outside of that, I have been working my blue collar until it's purple.
Yeah, you were pretty busy last week.
Yes, we were not able to record last week because I was too busy working my 9 to 5 that stretched out to about 8 o'clock.
Oh, wow. Well, like you said earlier, you gotta keep your priorities straight.
Yep. If I don't work, I can't game.
And if you
Them's
can't
the
game,
rules.
we can't podcast.
And if I can't game, what's the point of being here on this here podcast? You're right.
Exactly. Burrito in a cup only sells so much. But yeah, no, that's what we've been up to.
I guess that means it's time for that part of the show where we launch into our favorite game. It is called the Fifth Element game. Remind everybody at home what the Fifth Element game is, Tro.
Well, the Fifth Element game is a game where my co-host here will be asking me 5 questions, hence the title Fifth Element, and I am to discover what element he is looking for. The rules are that I cannot speak until the question has been fully answered, and the answers are not limited to Xbox titles. Any title works. An example of last week's question, for example, was give me a game with permadeath, and I believe Bama, in an attempt to describe what type of game to look for, he ran out of time because there is a timer of 5 seconds.
And I've got that timer ready to go. Your first question, timer will start when I stop speaking. First question is, name a game where you can plant crops.
Oh my gosh, Minecraft.
Got it.
Nice.
All right. Question number 2. You might find this one cute. Name, and you can't remember the rule. You can't use the same game twice.
Oh man.
Name a game where you have chickens that you can interact with.
Zelda. Link to the Past.
Is this true? Link to the Past chickens. I don't remember.
Yeah, every Zelda game has a chicken you can grab onto and use it to float.
Oh, why don't I remember chickens? Well, the first one, I was listening to a podcast regarding the Fable news when I come up with that one.
Oh,
yeah. I thought it was funny.
Fable would be another one. Yes.
Where you can kick the chickens and everybody's going to kick you. Then the same thing happened in Skyrim, if I remember correctly.
Oh, I don't know about Skyrim, but definitely Fable. Yeah, I'm a big Fable fan here. Oh, excited about the announcement about that, but yeah.
Name a game where you can be eaten by zombies.
State of Decay.
Got it. I am not going to stump you tonight.
My questions were a year in the making.
Yeah, he's going for a 5-star review right here, baby. All right. Name a game where your character has an oversized head.
Oh my god. That basketball game that came out.
The example we were looking for was Super Mega Baseball.
Super Mega Baseball would have. Yes. That's a good question. That one did stump me. I was thinking of the recent basketball game that came out. I called it Player Skills, but I don't think that was it.
Yeah. This last question is kind of lame and kind of a softball. But name a game with dinosaurs in it.
Ark. Survival Evolved.
That was exactly the one I had in mind. I was praying you didn't go with Jurassic Park or something like that.
There's a new Jurassic Park game in the horizon. No pun intended there on horizon.
Oh, that one had mechanical dinosaurs, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. I haven't finished it. Uh, it's on my shame list. I need to finish it. Very fun game.
It it is literally the game that keeps nudging me towards wanting a PlayStation 4.
Once a version that has everything, all DLC content, comes out, that's when you should seriously consider getting it.
Yeah, yeah. I will leave it to you to notify me when that happens, and then I may make an impulse decision. But for the time being, I think it's come to that point of the show where we must bid you all adieu because we all have our blue collar jobs to get to in the morning.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Well, just to finalize it here, my name is Troubadour XP. You can find me on Twitter, on Xbox, on just about anything you can think of. On Troubadour, that's TROBADOUR_XP. That includes Mixer as well when I stream, and YouTube. Bama?
And you can find me on Xbox and Mixer at Bama Shocks. That's SHOCKZ 81. And you can find me on Twitter at Bama_Shocks.
That's our show, everybody, and thank you for listening.
Goodbye.